Top Rider is a special Famicom game, not because it's good or who made it, because it's not good, and Human made all sorts of oddball stuff before they figured out how to make wrestling games. Top Rider is special because it's the second and final Famicom game to come with an inflatable controller. You would pump up this motorcycle, and then the actual controller was the handlebars. So given the fact that I'm just showing these pictures, obviously I couldn't get one of those controllers. As you might expect for an inflatable toy from 1988, they did not last. So intact ones are exceptionally rare. So how am I supposed to play this game designed around a specialty controller? No, I didn't reverse engineer it this time. Though I haven't eliminated doing that for the also impossible to find Oeki Kids controller. For Top Rider, you don't have to use the specialty controller. If you take the Player 2 controller and then hit A, B, right, down, left, up, B, A, the game starts and you can play with a regular Famicom controller. When you're playing with the controller, the A is accelerate, B is brake, up and down shift gears, and here's the important thing, pressing diagonal down does a greater turn than just pressing left or right. You'll need that to make some of those tight turns. There's two different game modes, one that just lets you drive 4 tracks, but the real meat of the game is the Grand Prix mode. In Grand Prix, you compete in 2 different circuits. The first one consisting of 4 tracks of 2 laps each, and the second consisting of 6 tracks, the last 2 of which require 3 laps. Grand Prix mode uses a system where your placement in a race grants you a certain number of points. If you score the most points in the circuit, then you win and move on. Now, I hadn't played Top Rider before I recorded this episode. I had been holding out for getting a controller, even if it was just the handlebars themselves. And it took me a couple of races to figure out that diagonal down was the deeper turn. And despite all that, I placed first in every single race. And not even first, but it was kind of close. I was blowing people out. I beat the game about 50 minutes after playing it for the first time, and that included a few laps in the single race mode. Top Rider is trivially easy. I'd say it was easy to the point of boredom. It's rare that you see more than one vehicle on the road at a time, and it's not like the drivers are doing anything. The biggest challenge for me was not accidentally shifting into low gear when I was turning. And honestly, the gameplay here isn't even as good as F1 Race, Nintendo's first behind-the-vehicle racing game, and that was released in 1984. We've been seeing a lot more sophisticated racing games lately, and Top Rider doesn't even match up with what we were getting at the beginning. I get the impression that they wanted something that looked like Sega's Hang On, and they wanted it out the door for the holiday season. So what we have here is a weak game with a gimmick controller. And maybe I'm being harsh. Maybe that inflatable motorcycle adds something to the game that I'm not getting. But even with it, it's still going to have boring tracks, boring racing, so I don't see how it could possibly be an improvement.